When life caves in, most people fold. They sink into self-pity, whisper prayers for rescue, and hope the storm passes. But hear me, when comfort is ripped away and the illusion of safety is torn from your hands, you're standing in front of a door very few ever walk through. What looks like punishment is actually an invitation to stop clinging to the softer version of yourself, the one propped up by denial, fantasy, and borrowed confidence, and to build something harder, cleaner, and far more dangerous. Healing is for those who want to be restored to what they were. You are not here to be restored. You are here to be rebuilt. Restoration takes you back. Rebuilding makes you into someone new, unrecognizable, unshakable, untouchable. You won't crawl back to normal. You will rise forward to power. So ask yourself, before your next breath, what kind of person are you? The one who camps among ruins, telling stories about the past? Or the one who stacks those ruins like bricks and forges a fortress? If you're the second, write it in stone. I rise from fire, not from pity. Let's be brutally clear. Power is never born in warmth. It doesn't grow under praise, mercy, or constant reassurance. Power is forged in the dark, when you're misunderstood, sidelined, stripped of every comfort and every excuse. The world doesn't owe you anything. It will not grade you on effort, make allowances for your pain, or applaud your intentions. It will swallow you whole if you don't stand colder, cleaner, and more disciplined than the chaos around you. That is the first Machiavellian gift. Stop waiting for fortune. Stop assuming fairness will eventually land on your doorstep. Those who wait are consumed. Those who seize, bend, and reshape circumstances become untouchable. You won't rebuild by clinging to tidy ideas about justice. Those are bedtime stories told to keep crowds manageable. If you intend to rise, peel off every illusion and accept the only rule that counts in the real contest. Power recognizes power. So don't ask, why me? Ask, what can I extract from this? What tools are hidden inside this burn? Because here is the revelation most never learn. Destruction is raw material. Betrayal is instruction. Loss is transformation disguised as loss. Every cut teaches accuracy. Every failure hardens your will. Every scar turns into armor if you let it. That's why grieving your past is the wrong assignment. Don't mourn it, study it. Put your pain on a table like a weaponsmith would metal. Examine what broke, where you were naive, what you ignored, who you trusted, how you reacted. Absorb the lessons without the melodrama. Your heart must cool. Your mind must sharpen. Your will must become the one thing no blow can dent. That's how you rise when everything else has fallen. If that truth lands, if you're willing to grip the blade rather than wait for rescue, declare it. My scars are weapons. My losses are fuel. Say it and mean it, because once you do, you stop being prey. You begin to join the ranks of those who cannot be broken the same way twice. Here's the strategy of the rebuilder. When normal people are hurt, they look for comfort. The uncommon person looks for angles. Rebuilding isn't emotional, it's mathematical. Fortune, as Machiavelli reminds us, rewards the disciplined and crushes the complacent. If you want to rise from rubble, think like a strategist, not a victim. First rule, detachment. Emotions blur the lens. Judgment wins battles. Cut away grief, anger, nostalgia, anything chaining you to a story that no longer serves you. Cold clarity is your ally. Second rule, observation. Study everything: your enemies, your mistakes, your blind spots, your allies. Every collapse prints out a blueprint of where you were soft. Don't curse the blueprint. Use it. Third rule: control. Don't sprint into the world to prove you're okay. Make quiet, deliberate moves. Stack small wins with surgical precision. Real power isn't taken in panic. It's accrued out of sight and deployed all at once. Rise too fast and the crowd will swat you down. Rise patiently and they won't see you until it's too late. Remember, life is a chessboard. Think 5 moves ahead. Your pain has given you permission to think differently. While others numb themselves, you sharpen. While they hope, you set leverage. This is the blueprint for rebuilding, not as the person you were, but as the weapon you are becoming. Forget comfort. It's the drug of the docile. Choose discipline. Choose foresight. Choose cold ambition. Build on those foundations and watch how pity turns into respect and respect hardens into fear. If you feel that shift lighting up inside you, then speak it like an oath. I rebuild with strategy, not sympathy. You're not rebuilding to survive anymore. You are rebuilding to dominate. Pain is not the villain here. Pain is the furnace that separates steel from scrap. Most people run from it, drown it in noise, or disguise it with easy pleasures. Don't be most people. Face it. Look straight at the thing that scorched you and say, "You're mine now." Because the truth is simple. Pain is energy. It's fuel. It's a weapon wearing a mask. Every betrayal you've tasted, every humiliation you've swallowed, every loss that staggered you, each one is a deposit in the vault of your strength. Weak men squander those deposits by complaining, retelling the story for sympathy, or waiting for the world to make it right. Strong men harvest them. They refine them. They turn raw agony into clean power. That's dark psychology in practice, not as a buzzword, but as a discipline. Transform your scars into leverage. While others ask to be consoled, you sit in cold clarity and extract lessons. While others collapse under the weight of grief, you compress the pressure until it crystallizes into resolve. Machiavelli is blunt about this. Fortune favors the one who can weaponize circumstance. If the world handed you pain, the world handed you power. You just haven't claimed it yet. So start small. When the sting hits, ask a better question. What is this teaching me to do next? Maybe it's telling you where your boundaries were soft, where your preparation was shallow, where you believed words instead of tracking patterns. Each answer becomes a lever. Each lever moves the ground under your feet. From this point forward, stop saying, "I suffered." Say, "I transformed." Don't whisper, "Why me?" Tell yourself, "Because I'm the one who can turn this into momentum." If you feel that spark catching, lock it in. Write it like a contract. Right now, my pain is power. My scars are fuel. Now we get to the part most skip the execution. To rebuild, you don't add ornaments. You don't slap paint on a shaky wall. You demolish the weak structure, not your life, not other people. You. The version of you that allowed the collapse to happen. That version trusted too quickly, hoped without verification, and let comfort corrode discipline. He has to go. This is not sentimental work. The man you were got you to these ruins. Don't build a shrine to him. Bury him. His beliefs, his habits, his rituals, his bedtime stories, shovel them into the ground. Most people keep a souvenir of their old self because it feels safe. But safety is a cage, and familiarity is a slow poison. If you carry pieces of the past into your rebirth, those pieces will choke the new you the first time pressure returns. Machiavelli's image is clear. Be both fox and lion, cunning enough to spot the trap, strong enough to crush the wolf. Ask, was your old self either? Or was he prey wearing a costume, stepping into every snare with a smile? The cure is not vengeance. It's clarity. Replace blind faith with clean observation. Replace indulgence with routine. Replace noisy pleas for understanding with quiet, measurable action. Don't call this reinvention. Call it an execution. Imagine your old self standing across from you, the one who tolerated disrespect, who begged for approval, who let fear steer decisions. Look him in the eyes. End him. He's had his chance. He got you hurt. He doesn't get a vote anymore. And yes, it will feel harsh. Good. Softness produced the collapse. Softness won't get you out. The moment you declare the old self dead, something shifts. Your habits loosen their grip. The illusions stop humming. The chain snaps. For the first time, you're not a prisoner of yesterday's identity. You're an architect with empty blueprints and a steady hand. From here on out, definitions change. You no longer wake up asking, "How do I feel?" You ask, "What moves the needle?" You no longer accept disrespect. You remove access. You no longer overshare to feel close. You let performance speak in silence. You no longer chase validation. You validate your plan by executing it daily. 10 minutes of clean work beats 2 hours of performative struggle. One firm boundary beats a dozen speeches. This is why collapse, as brutal as it is a gift in disguise. It exposes what had to die. It demands a trade. The comforting identity you used to wear for a colder, stronger one built on evidence. But nobody can make that trade for you. You choose it or you don't. You bury the old self, or you keep dragging his corpse into every new chapter and wondering why the pages stink. So choose right now. Are you clinging to a ghost because it's familiar, or are you done? If you're done, declare it so the new you has a line it will not cross. The old me is dead. The new me is untouchable. And understand, this isn't about theatrics. It's about posture. It's about how you carry yourself when nobody's clapping. It's about the silence between your actions, the routines you no longer negotiate, the limits you enforce without anger. From this moment, your life is a clean line, before execution, after execution. The past can visit, but it doesn't get a key. Grieve if you must, briefly. Then lock in. The next chapter is built in solitude, with precision, not performance. And that's where we're going next. Into the law of isolation, where noise is stripped away and your edge is forged in the quiet. There comes a point, right after you bury the old self, when you realize something. The real battlefield isn't out there. It's not the people who betrayed you, not the jobs that failed, not the lovers who left. The battlefield is inside your own mind. And to win that war, you have to step into isolation not as a punishment, but as a weapon. Most men fear solitude. They can't sit with themselves for long because silence strips away their illusions. Without the background noise of other people's validation, they're forced to look straight at who they are. No filters, no roles, no applause. That's why weak men cling to distraction, company, entertainment, endless chatter. But strong men, the ones destined to rise, understand that isolation is where steel is forged. Solitude is the crucible of transformation. It's where you face yourself without excuses, without escape routes, without anyone to blame. It's where you calculate, where you harden, where you grow into the version of yourself that no longer bends for approval. Machiavelli wrote that a ruler who cannot stand alone will always be ruled. Dependency, he said, is the invisible leash of the weak. And it's true. Every time you lean on someone else's validation, every time you crave a compliment, an apology, a sign of permission. You hand away a piece of your power. Servants need reassurance. Sovereigns don't. The first step toward power, then, is cutting the leash. That means walking into solitude willingly. It means disconnecting from the constant opinions of the crowd. It means cutting off the emotional noise that keeps you docile. It's not easy. You'll feel the silence pressing on you like weight. You'll feel doubt creep in, whispering that you're lost, that you need comfort, that you're missing out. Don't listen. That's the voice of the old self trying to drag you back into mediocrity. The discomfort you feel isn't emptiness. It's detox. It's the sound of weakness dying. Understand this. Loneliness is weakness begging for company. Solitude is strength sharpening itself. When you sit in that quiet long enough, something shifts. You start to hear the raw sound of your own thoughts. You begin to recognize your patterns, your fears, your impulses, your instincts, and when you finally see them, you can control them. That's power. This is what I call cold psychology. The ability to study yourself as you would study an opponent. No judgment, no emotion, just precision. You analyze your flaws, your triggers, your habits, and you use them. You turn awareness into weaponry. Isolation is not absence, it's refinement. It's not you being without the world. It's you preparing to rule it. But beware, this road isn't gentle. There will be nights when silence feels like an enemy. There will be mornings when you wake up wondering if you're wasting your time. There will be people who don't understand what you're doing, who call you distant, heartless, arrogant. Let them. That confusion is proof that you're evolving beyond their comprehension. While others chase distraction, you build discipline. While they drown in the noise of social validation, you cultivate inner command. The longer you sit with yourself, the less the world can manipulate you. You stop being controlled by flattery, guilt, or fear of abandonment. You become your own foundation, an island of discipline, a fortress of will. That's the real meaning of being untouchable. It's not about money, status, or fame. It's about independence so absolute that no one can make you compromise your center. No betrayal can destroy you because you rely on no one for your peace. No rejection can break you because you no longer negotiate your worth. Most men will never reach that level. They fear silence too much. But you, if you've made it this far, you're not most men. You're ready for what comes next. Because isolation isn't the end of the process. It's the beginning of a new kind of dominance. The kind that doesn't shout, doesn't beg, doesn't explain. From the silence, a new force is born. Sovereignty. Sovereignty means you no longer look for permission to exist. You stop waiting for someone to recognize your potential, to validate your value, to hand you authority. You give it to yourself. You decide. You command. And from that moment, the world starts responding differently. People sense it in your posture, in your voice, in your eyes. You radiate ownership. Sovereignty is not about ruling others. It's about ruling yourself so completely that no one else ever can. It's the invisible crown, the quiet authority that can't be faked. And once you wear it, you can't go back. But before sovereignty comes discipline, and before discipline becomes power, it must be ruthless. You've been hardened by pain, sharpened by silence, but now it's time to become precise. To move through the world with control so cold, so deliberate, that no weakness can survive in your orbit. Because the next step, the one that separates the rare few from the rest, is learning the discipline of ruthlessness. At a certain point, isolation hardens you, pain sharpens you. The weak version of yourself is gone, but that's only the halfway mark. To truly rebuild, to become untouchable, you must now master the discipline of ruthlessness. Ruthlessness is not cruelty for the sake of destruction. It's not rage or recklessness. It's control. It's the clean, cold precision of someone who no longer negotiates with weakness. When people hear the word ruthless, they imagine villains, tyrants, or sociopaths. But Machiavelli never meant it that way. True ruthlessness is mastery over hesitation. It's the ability to move forward without flinching. Weak men glorify kindness because they've never had to choose between mercy and survival. They praise forgiveness because they're afraid of being feared. They decorate their lack of boundaries with words like goodness and compassion. But the truth is brutal. Good men rarely rise. Look around you. The ones who dominate, the ones who lead, the ones who shape the world. They're not the softest, they're the sharpest. Machiavelli said it clearly. It's better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. Modern culture reversed that idea, telling men to chase approval instead of command, to be endlessly understanding, endlessly agreeable. But love can be taken advantage of. Fear cannot. Power doesn't answer to empathy. It answers to control. To rebuild yourself into something untouchable, you must learn this art. Ruthlessness is the refusal to waste energy on what doesn't serve your ascent. It's the courage to make hard decisions when everyone else hesitates. It's knowing when to walk away, when to cut ties, when to say no without apology. The ruthless man doesn't seek revenge. He seeks advantage. He doesn't act from emotion. He acts from calculation. His silence is louder than his explanations. His absence is sharper than his presence. Every day, train it like a muscle. Ask yourself, what weakness am I still feeding? What habit still drains me? What attachment still softens me? Then, cut it. Discipline is the blade. Ruthlessness is the hand that wields it. Together, they carve you into something the world cannot move. But don't mistake ruthlessness for chaos. True ruthlessness is guided by patience and foresight. It's knowing when to strike and when to disappear. It's the balance of fox and lion, the cunning mind that spots traps, and the fierce will that crushes opposition. Most people exhaust themselves fighting small battles. You won't. You'll save your fire for decisive blows, the ones that change the entire board. That's how Machiavellian strategy works. You don't fight every fight. You don't prove every point. You don't chase validation. You observe, calculate, and execute when it matters. Dark psychology confirms this. People will test you. They'll guilt-trip you, bait you, try to manipulate your compassion. They'll drain you until you're empty if you let them. And if you're not ruthless enough to enforce your limits, they will own you. You'll bleed slowly through 1,000 small compromises. That's why most men never rise. They're afraid to be seen as cold. They crave being understood. They want approval from the very people who fear their potential. And so, they remain slaves to the opinions of the mediocre. You must be different. You must be misunderstood. You must be willing to carry the weight of being feared. Because fear is armor. Fear keeps parasites at bay. Fear buys you time and space to move freely. To be feared is not to be hated. It's to be respected on a level that kindness never reaches. When people fear disappointing you, they perform better. When they fear losing your respect, they stay in line. When they fear your silence, they reveal their insecurities. That's why ruthlessness isn't about turning into a monster. It's about controlling the energy of every interaction. You decide when to open your hand and when to close it. You decide who stays close and who's cut off. You decide when to speak and when silence becomes the loudest move. But here's the test. Can you live with it? Can you live with being feared, envied, and misunderstood? Can you stand alone in your conviction while others call you arrogant, cold, or heartless? Can you resist the urge to explain yourself to the masses who'll never understand? If you can, then you've crossed into a new realm of control, the kind that separates rulers from subjects. But if you can't yet, then return to the fire. Burn away the remaining softness. Burn until hesitation dies, because this path isn't for everyone. It was never meant to be. It's reserved for the few who understand that greatness demands sacrifice, that power demands precision, and that survival demands ruthlessness. So, if you are one of those few, decide it now. Don't whisper, don't ask permission. Say it as law. I choose ruthless discipline. I rise without apology. I am untouchable. And once you say it, we move to the final arena of power, the highest level of mastery that Machiavelli spoke of. Control. The architecture that governs every victory, every kingdom, every mind. Control is the crown, and it's time you learned how to wear it. Control is the foundation of all lasting power. Without it, strength turns chaotic, ambition fragments, and victories fade. Men don't fall because the world is cruel. They fall because they cannot master themselves. If you wish to rebuild after collapse, to rise untouchable and never kneel again, you must become the architect of control, and that architecture begins within. Your first empire is the mind. Until you rule your thoughts, they rule you. Until you master your emotions, you are a puppet waiting for someone clever enough to pull your strings. Anger, lust, pride. These destroy more men than enemies ever could. Weak men blame betrayal, fate, or bad luck. But their real defeat always begins inside. The moment you lose control of your reactions, you hand your power away. So chain the chaos within. Bend it to your command. Anger must turn into fuel. Fear must become awareness. Pain must become instruction. Even desire, when directed, becomes strategy instead of slavery. Machiavelli understood this long before psychology gave it a name. Men are predictable because emotions control them. But if you control your emotions, you become unpredictable, dangerous, sovereign. Once your mind obeys, you construct your second empire, time. Time is the true currency of power. You can recover money, repair your reputation, rebuild relationships, but time wasted is gone forever. Weak men trade their hours for distraction, gossip, and comfort. The powerful treat time like a weapon. They allocate it with surgical precision. Every hour either adds to your rise or subtracts from it. There is no neutral ground. Ask yourself daily, did this day make me stronger or weaker? Did this hour move me closer to dominance, or was it stolen by mediocrity? Control your time, and you control your trajectory. While others drown in noise, you move quietly, strategically, accumulating leverage they'll never see coming. The third empire is relationships. Most people are ruled by others without realizing it. A lover manipulates with affection, an enemy manipulates with fear, and society manipulates with guilt. Every time you seek validation or beg for approval, you surrender a piece of your freedom. Machiavelli warned rulers to appear virtuous while practicing cunning in secret. You must do the same. Appear generous, but remain calculating. Appear humble, but stay dangerous. The masses believe what they see, use that blindness. Control perception, and you control behavior. Let others think you are predictable while you move silently. Let them underestimate you, it gives you the advantage. Virtue, to the Machiavellian mind, is not sincerity, it's strategy. You don't need to deceive, you simply don't expose. Then comes the fourth and final empire, chaos. Life will always test you. Betrayals, failures, sudden storms, none of it ever stops. Weak men drown because they expect stability. Strong men adapt because they understand that chaos is not the enemy, it's the environment. The key is not resistance, but redirection. Use the storm. Every collapse hides an opening. Every betrayal hides information. Every failure hides a new angle. The lion doesn't curse the thunder. He hunts in it. The fox doesn't freeze when the ground shifts. He slips through the cracks. You must become both cunning and ruthless. When you master these four empires, mind, time, relationships, and chaos, you reach the summit of control. Nothing external can truly destroy you because the source of your stability is internal. But control is not a place you arrive at. It's a discipline you maintain. The moment you stop guarding your thoughts, weakness returns. The moment you stop respecting your time, mediocrity eats your hours. The moment you stop shaping perception, others will shape it for you. The moment you stop directing chaos, it will consume you. Control is war, and you must remain the general. When you live this way long enough, something awakens inside you, a sense of sovereignty. Sovereignty is the invisible crown. It is the cold crown of power that cannot be given, inherited, or bought. It must be seized. Sovereignty begins the moment you stop waiting for permission. When you no longer ask if you're ready, no longer wonder if you're worthy, no longer beg for acknowledgement. You decide, and that decision separates rulers from followers. Machiavelli said fortune bends to those bold enough to command it. Sovereignty is that command, the calm authority of a man who governs himself so completely that no one else ever can. Weak men explain themselves. Sovereign men act. Weak men seek validation. Sovereign men create it. Weak men chase acceptance. Sovereign men demand respect without asking for it. But understand, this sovereignty is cold. It isolates you from comfort and companionship built on dependency. It replaces the warmth of approval with the fire of discipline. Yet that coldness is clarity. It burns away need, leaving only strength. When you reach this stage, you no longer chase power. Power moves toward you. People sense it in your silence, in your stillness, in the way you require nothing from them. You become untouchable because you have nothing left to lose. That is sovereignty. That is the final evolution of the rebuilder. So decide now. Will you remain among the herd, waiting for recognition that never comes? Or will you seize your crown, rule yourself absolutely, and rise beyond their reach? If you are ready, declare it with conviction. I am untouchable. I rise without permission. I wear the cold crown of sovereignty. I rule myself, and none can rule me. Your collapse was not your ending. It was your initiation. Now rise and rule.